Here again in the third largest city in Canada. 30 more million Canadians, 2 million in Vancouver. Third largest city, and they are ready to greet, in their own way, the Boston Bruins and then their own team. 3 Game 1 losses for Boston, but pushback understood. 4 Game 1 wins for Vancouver, and the goalie who led them out has offered 3 shutouts in those Game 1s. The Canucks and the Bruins getting ready. Is a tradition here in Vancouver that dates from Roger Nielsen's coaching days, and the exciting run in 1982 ended in 4 straight by the New York Islanders that year. Then there was the loss in 7 to the New York Rangers in 1994. But they are 1-0 in this series right now. To the ice, Pierre Maguire and the Canucks captain, Henrik Sedin.
Thanks a lot, Doc. What did you learn about the Boston Bruins in Game 1 that can help you here in Game 2?
Well, they're not going to give you a whole lot, so the chances you have to really bear down and try to get some goals.
There was a lot of bad blood all during game number 1. They want to be more physical here tonight. How do you guys battle through that?
We're a physical team. We don't back down for anything, and I don't think first game was any different from the other series we've been in.
Get out there and have some fun, and thanks for doing this, Hank.
Thank you.
The NHL passed a rule among its 6 teams in 1946 mandating the performance of at least one patriotic song before games. Although an option before, in 1987 it was agreed that when a U.S. team meets a Canadian team, both countries would have such a song performed. That will, of course, be the case here tonight, and it has been done in dramatic fashion in Game 1. Let's listen. Here's PA announcer John Ashbridge.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats. Join Mr. Richard Loney in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and join Mr. Mark Donnelly in the singing of O Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard.
Oh, there might have been technical difficulties, but the 18,000 were there to help him out. Mark Donnelly, preceded by the veteran long-time anthem singer Richard Loney. Out of Davison, Michigan, town of 5,000 near Flint, 20th straight start every minute played for the Bruins by Tim Thomas, 37 years of age. Out of Montreal, Quebec, 14th straight start, 3 shutouts, including Game 1 for the Canucks. Roberto Luongo, he is 31 years of age. Not a game played because of an eye injury that caused him to miss 19. Manny Malhotra is in the lineup, though not starting. What's the biggest challenge with that mask he has on?
Well, I think finding pucks and making plays in tight, Doug, that'll be the greatest challenge, where you get one of the premier penalty killers back, one of the premier face-off men for Alain Vigneault and the Vancouver Canucks. Great to see him back in the lineup after that scary incident back in March.
Boston with no lineup changes. Andrew Alberts is in for the injured Dan Hemhughes on defense, and Malhotra sees Alexander Bolduc sit out because Malhotra can play. Tremendous face-off man for this team, as Dennis Seidenberg gave it over to Zdeno Chara and ladled back in. What do you think we'll expect different from the Bruins on the attack tonight?
I think that they certainly want to keep their defensemen involved a little bit more in the offensive zone, hang around the blue line a little bit more. They want to have a much better start than they did in the first couple of minutes of Game 1.
Andrew Ferentz, a little trouble, but followed through, got it onto Patrice Bergeron's stick. It's flung into a glove, but then taken away. Trying to work it is Marchand, and a shot and a skidding block there made by Kevin Bieksa. Bieksa's pass ricocheted across and can be played on further and carried on by Daniel Sedin. Sedin dropped it on back, taken by Bieksa to Henrik Sedin, knifed on to Daniel, then along to Henrik. Pass is cut by David Krejci and then played on back now by Milan Lucic. Played along by Johnny Boychuk. Chipped on further off of Nathan Horton and grabbed off and spun by Daniel Sedin. Kicked on now for the spin by Aaron Rome. Bieksa to get it there and hit by Krejci. 18,000 chanting "Go Canucks Go." 361st consecutive sellout here.
Second good keep in there by Aaron Rome, and the Bruins have to ice the puck now.
Inside the glass, here's Pierre.
We talked about adjustments after Game 1. Well, the Vancouver Canucks, they're taking the walls away with pinching defensemen, and the Boston Bruins are going to have to adjust. You'll see pucks coming around the wall, so the Vancouver Canucks are taking the boards away right now. For the Boston Bruins, it's got to go D to the inside part of the ice or D to D to the inside part of the ice. If they keep going up the wall, they're in trouble.
A shot deflected wide. Spun off of Tim Thomas. It bounced onto Milan Lucic. The line out for the Bruins right now. Lucic, Krejci, and Horton. 13 shots in the first game. Did not score, nor did the top line of the Canucks. And that line of the Sedins registered 10 shots on goal.
Eddie, you see how quick the Vancouver defense is coming down on anything around the wall? That's going to be tough for the wingers for the Bruins.
You got to make sure if you're pounding the puck around the boards, if you're a Bruin defenseman, it better be hard so nobody gets it. But you got to take a quick look. If you're a winger along those boards, to the video that you showed, Pierre, if a winger, you have to take a look over your shoulder and see where the pressure's coming from.
Standing ovation for Manny Malhotra. His first shift in a couple of months. Good hit by Oreskovich. Andrew Alberts drops back and plays it on to Oreskovich. And the chant is Manny, Manny. And he is there. Took the hit, got it behind. Hooked along and up by Caberlet. Taken on by Michael Ryder. Knifed away, and Ryder has to play it safely back. Bumped a bit by Oreskovich. Long toss ahead is on to Tyler Seguin, and that one is flung back in deep. Kelly threw one that ricocheted off of Luongo, yanked right back into him, and I'm sorry immediately, says the captain, Henrik Sedin. Let's take a look at the Ford Drive 1 update.
We talked about that day back in March, Doc. The pass off the stick, catching Manny Malhotra in the left eye. Surgery a little time after that. Been skating for the last 5 weeks, waiting for this opportunity, and talked about it yesterday, Doc, about not wanting it to be a distraction, whether he would be in or out of lineup. There was a lot of talk of him possibly being in the lineup in game 1, but here he is in game 2.
Seidenberg a shot, and that deflected wide as Horton got a piece of it. Yanked on around for Nathan Horton as the Bruins are in the midst of a change. They get Krejci out there, and soon to come will be Lucic, and he's the guy who punched it off. Laid back across by Higgins, could not be gathered in, though, by Mason Raymond. Finesse move on by Horton is collared by Krejci, and laid across now for Johnny Boychuk. And his shot, a rocket in and out of the glove of Luongo. Flung by Kessler. Horton able to get it there. Could not get it, though, for Krejci. Must be played the other way. Christopher Higgins with a pass that ricocheted stiffly back down and bounces free where it can be foisted from the trapezoid by Thomas. Good booming check there by Boychuk. Shaken up a bit, and just now to his feet is Kessler. Meanwhile, Ferentz is able to wedge that one on, and Boychuk is able to take it back, and Kessler is looking in the direction of the bench, and he is starting to come there and will come off. Rattled on around behind. Do you think he got hurt by that, or was it just a normal change, Pierre?
No, he got hurt by that hit, and right now he's trying to shake it off on the bench.
Around behind it is Bergeron trying to play for Mark Recchi. Pinching on in is Seidenberg. Laid on back now for Marchand, and his shot is grabbed and held by Luongo.
Well, Johnny Boychuk, a very active first part of this game and doing what he does best, and there a good, hard, clean hit, shaking up Ryan Kessler. Kessler realizes that Boychuk's coming, and he just gets enough of him. And as you mentioned, Doc, it took Kessler a good couple of seconds to get back to his feet. Kind of got his bearings and then made a good beeline to the bench and sat down right next to Pierre on the Canuck bench.
He got hurt in the last series, too, against San Jose.
Here's Chara's shot, sticked aside by Luongo. Luongo has been the busier of the goalies tonight, after Tim Thomas had to hold off quite an attack in the first 3 minutes of game 1. Played along behind by Malhotra, but given up there to Rich Peverly. Peverly able to nudge it around, wrap around attempt by Paille, spiked free, and then popped up in the air and can be settled down by Tambellini and given on across. Punched right back on Oreskovich in a pretty good collision with Seidenberg. It's reversed near Seidenberg's territory. He'll drop back behind to punch it off. And it's Paille. Good heavy hitting Oreskovich. The Notre Dame product draws a rise from the fans with that hit.
More shifts in the first 4 minutes of this game than he had back in game 1.
Jannik Hansen with a pass that's cut off by Seidenberg. Dumped on back near Hansen again. Threw one to the back. Drive by Solo as all Thomas bounces in the crease and was swept away by Seidenberg. Another shot and a save made by Thomas. Another shot, and that one rattled wide. That one hopped loose off Torres, given on a cross, and here's Peverly marching on. Peverly drifting, picking up reinforcements from the bench as he stashed it back in, and Luongo played it on to LaPierre. Cleared it into some trouble. LaPierre able to scoop it back along. Edler moved to that one, but then it's taken by Hansen. The first NHLer from Denmark to record a point in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He leaves this one around behind. Lugged on by Bieksa. Deflected wide of Thomas. Watches as carefully it is played back on. Kelly with a nice little pass on to Sagan. Tyler Sagan brought it ahead. Flopped one into the catching glove of Luongo, and he will wait.
Well, some opportunities finally for the Vancouver Canucks. Low to high. There's Sammy Salo, the shot, and this puck gets in behind. Good help there from Dennis Seidenberg. But again, the aggressive goaltending of Tim Thomas.
Jeff Tambellini hard on Zdeno Chara. Tough guy to hit, though. Unless you're 6'4", 240 pounds, you're not going to dent Chara.
Aaron Rome flung it behind. To get it, Lucic. Nice little pass. Horton through the legs around in front. Krejci denied, though. Krejci came by again, and turning that one aside was Luongo. And he had more time. Drubbed right back in again by Chara.
A lot of the little plays around Roberto Luongo. Vancouver Canucks have allowed the Boston Bruins to attack from below the goal line and take pucks to the net on the wraparounds.
Played along by Raymond. Spiked right back to him, though. Mason Raymond led it to the back, and that one went through Bieksa and back down. Well, you had talked earlier about one thing that the Bruins needed to do was to pinch a little more, at least take that chance, and we're starting to see it here, and it's paying some dividends, though nothing on the scoreboard. Daniel Sedin threw one that deflected to the corner. Yanked around by Burrows. Boychuk able to find that eventually, and then in a two-man battle, two per side, sees it knifed away from behind by Patrice Bergeron. Swept on back, though, and held there for a shot by Burrows that ricocheted to the corner of one of the players in front. Shoved back along, and Bergeron able to get one onto Recchi. Oh, was Recchi ever flattened by Andrew Alberts?
Member of Boston College for 4 years and a former member of the Boston Bruins, a team that drafted him.
This is Seidenberg, and he is drilled. There is a price to pay for handling the puck, and then LaPierre tried to sweep a quick one on goal after it came magically back to him.
Oh, Chris Kelly got lucky there, trying to throw it back into the coverage coming back from the Vancouver Canucks.
Ed Zone Doc, the Bruins talked about managing the puck better after game one. That's what they have to do right there through the middle. That's the only way to break that pressure forecheck down.
Offside is called. 12:46 to go, first period. Dennis Seidenberg hit by LaPierre in a scoreless first. Let's take a look at today's McDonald's I'm Lovin' It Spotlight player, Ryan Kessler, native of Livonia, Michigan, near Detroit. U.S. National Team Development Program. There you see what he did in Game 1, but this is what happened early in Game 2 from Johnny Boychuk.
Johnny Boychuk, the former AHL Defenseman of the Year. The Eddie Shore Award winner.
Eddie Shore, the longtime legendary Bruin. 14 registered hits in the first 7-14. We had 61 in all of game number 1. Adam McQuaid fired it in, and it's stopped behind by Luongo. Crisp pass right ahead to Daniel Sedin, who brings it on. With identical twin brother Henrik in his wake, he just played it back to him, and around it went where Chara was run into by Alex Burrows. Played back up by Horton and given on to Lucic. Led it on back to McQuaid, then crisply to Krejci. Tried to knife one on through, but it was blocked by both Sedins, and eventually can be played back, and they'll go D to D. A change on the part of the Canucks now.
They saw Chara and Seidenberg on the ice. They're trying to catch them.
The Bruins would like Chara and Seidenberg out against whom?
Against the two Sedins and Burrows. So anytime they see that and they get a short shift, they'll change right out of it on the Vancouver side.
This is Oreskovich bringing it on. Gliding to the outside, and his shot is held by Thomas. Let's meet the Canucks top line as introduced by their captain.
Hi, I'm Henrik Sedin. This is my brother Daniel. And on the other side, we got the vegetarian Alex Burrows.
Two carnivores and a vegetarian. They are still trying to press the argument, aren't they?
Those two carnivores from Örnsköldsvik, Sweden, played for Modo, a legendary program. Marcus Naslund has his number hanging from the rafters here. He's now running the sports programs at Modo, and he's been following this series very closely.
Patrice Bergeron, the subject of the inquiry, because he was the injured party. That one squibbed behind in that fighting incident in game number 1. Brad Marchand brings it ahead. For Bergeron, knifed down, but then collared away by Kessler, laid up the boards, and a drive! A hard drive by Boychuk, stopped by Luongo. Good head fake there by Marchand. Gripped a little backhand pass in front, but it rattled off some skates, and then Boychuk, another shot that ricocheted, and shaking his hand now is Higgins, because that struck him in the glove. Laid back across off the glove of Peverly this time, and can be played back ahead.
Good play there by Andrew Ferentz to hang in at that blue line a little bit longer. Don't be so quick to retreat if you got a chance of keeping that play alive.
That was Peverly on the ice with Marchand and Bergeron rather than Recchi, so looking for a little bit more speed on that line.
Wonder if maybe Mark got shaken up a bit by that heavy hit. Here's a shot that is held by Luongo and play stopped.
We talk about how important it is to get your defense active jumping into the play. Now, this puck is coming up the boards. I'll stop it right here. The puck is going to end up coming right here to Milan Lucic, but watch the path here of Johnny Boychuk. He's going to come in and be available for Milan Lucic. The puck is going to move up the boards, and now get into the play. Jump in, become another option. He just can't stand to the outside, so nice execution there by the Bruins.
The middle of the ice is open, so's the offside D. Edzo, if you're Boston.
You got to take a look. And then move your feet after that. If you can come in that second and third waves, It'll make any team be a little bit more respectable.
LaPierre sent one that was blocked away. Hansen around behind. Centered one, and that ricocheted back to Andrew Albert. Scooped it across. Hurried shot. Went flying wide from Ehrhoff. Pretty hard hit on Kelly by Alberts. Right back ahead. Ryder and a shot. Oh, and it knocked the mask off of Luongo. He covers, and play is stopped.
Andrew Alberts tried to get physical at the offensive blue line of the Canucks, and then a strong stick for Michael Ryder in the neutral zone, Edzo.
Yeah, there's that hit in behind. Good play to keep that play alive by Chris Kelly. And then the high, hard shot, knocking the mask right off the head of Roberto Luongo.
What a strong stick Ryder had as he made that play in the neutral zone to gain possession and drive hard on Luongo. And there's a difference. A year ago, Luongo would have been further out from the crease. Now he's just on the top of the crease, touching the blue paint, and he makes a tough save look easy. He's a huge man, and he doesn't have to come that far out to cut angles down.
Well, in this series, we really have a difference in styles as well as positions regarding that blue paint, don't we?
Tim Thomas, the opposite of Roberto Luongo, much more aggressive outside the blue area. Roberto Luongo, much more patient this year than he has in the past, playing more, a little bit deeper in his net.
Here's Kessler shoveling one across that was blocked down and can be lifted back along again by Seidenberg. Boy, just some very quick sticks out there on the part of the Bruins right now, as reaching for that was Higgins, but prevailing is Chara. Zdeno Chara, who played a ton of minutes again, 809 in game number 1. No one else was even close to that. Here's Horton with a shot, and that rattled wide and hopped on back to Chara. Chara with a lob, and that was spiked away. Sent back along and further to center by Mason Raymond. Jabbed on back to Chara. He's handcuffed a little bit by that, so help came from Seidenberg, but they rule that Chara took care of Kessler illegally. First power play of the game coming up. It's to Vancouver after this. Time now for Edward Jones FaceTime. Pierre is with Vancouver coach Alain Vigneault.
You were 0 for 6 in the power play in game 1. Now you're going right to the power play. Make any adjustments?
Well, I think we got to shoot the puck more. We didn't get enough shots on net. We always got a good net presence with Ryan. We got to find an open lane and get pucks to the net.
Did you change your offensive zone forecheck because of the fact you don't think their defenseman can handle the puck well? You clearly are pinching down harder.
Well, we've always been a pinching team. Anytime that we can jump on that second pass, we always do. And we've done that all year. Our D's have been a big part of our forecheck, and that's not going to change.
Thanks, Alain.
My pleasure.
Bud Light power play is underway. Henrik Sedin was stepped into there by Ferentz. It's rocketed along, but kept by Edler. Edler played it on to Ryan Kessler. Kessler sent it on across. They try to get that cross-ice pass going. Didn't work that time, so they'll try to set up again. Twisted right along. Daniel Sedin on back now. Worked back by Ehrhoff to Edler. Edler a shot held by Thomas.
Edzo, you can see how Boston pressures because they know Edler's not a one-time option. He's a left-hand shot on the left-hand side of the ice. They'll give him that shot all day long.
Now you could shade over to that area, but the Vancouver Canucks create this chance because of the giveaway by Johnny Boychuk. They have the puck. Look at all the area that Boychuk has. Just skate behind the net, take another 10 feet, and then fire it high off the glass. Take a quick look. Before you get to the puck, know what you're going to do. Take a quick peek, see where the pressure's coming from, gain ice, and then fire it all the way down.
From this face-off tie-up, it is Seidenberg behind, wrapped it on around, and Ehrhoff could not stop it.
See the difference? He skated like you wanted him to, Coach Olchuk.
Let's be piped in.
Sometimes.
Do that, come to the bench, get a tap on the back. Way to go. Right back along with that, it's carried in by Kessler, handed on to Daniel Sedin. Boy, almost lost it there. Challenged by Paille, fed by Henrik Sedin back. Grabbed off there and worked on across to Daniel Sedin. Fires, and a save made by Thomas.
Again, they'll give him those shots all day long because it's an easy save for Thomas. Those are left-hand shots in that position. So, Edzo, you see everything's going to that side of the ice. Boston's pressuring to keep everything there.
Ryan Kessler standing in front of the net, and your interview with Alain Vigneault, Pierre, he said when you asked him about the power plays, they want more shots. Well, his players are listening because anytime there's a lane to the net, they're firing that puck, and Tim Thomas has done a wonderful job of absorbing and not giving up any rebounds.
Rich Beverly shot that one in and got there first to punch it up the boards, and it can be played back out by Bergeron to Seidenberg, and the blast back down. 3/4 of a minute to go on the first power play of the night. No score, game 2. Vancouver took the first one 1-0. Carried back ahead by Edler and led on to Daniel Sedin. Daniel Sedin pestered there by Brad Marchand, and Marchand was able to intercept the pass and carry it back out. Marchand trying to pull his way by, but more time goes off the penalty clock, and that's the object.
The Bruins bench was yelling at Marchand to go because it was Henrik Sedin forward in a one-on-one situation. Henrik played it well.
Rattled on by Ferentz, kept alive though by Sammy Salo, pitched around in front. Oh, and a hurried step, and Rosie scores!
Ferentz has to get this puck out, Eddie.
He's got it. He throws it off the glass. It's kept in by Sammy Salo. Watch the quick play right there by Christopher Higgins. He kicks this puck to Alexander Burrows, and the puck ends up in the back of the net. I think Tim Thomas was absolutely shocked that this puck was on his stick that quick.
I agree with you. And Higgins made a real skillful play, and Burrows is a lethal scoring machine. A kid out of Shawinigan, Quebec. He's in game 2, even though a lot of people in hockey thought he should have been suspended for the biting incident. He's put Vancouver ahead 1-0.
We heard from some of those at the very top of our show just after 8 o'clock Eastern. It is thrown along by Krejci. Oh, was he ever hit? Taking it right away and working it along now is Yannick Hansen. Pitched it on through. Here's LaPierre. Turning it behind Rafi Torres, the hero of game 1. Sent it on back to the point. Bieksa handcuffed there. Knifed it on, and Chara is able to feed it back. Only a dozen seconds remained on the minor penalty to Chara when Burrows scored his 8th of the playoffs, his first power play goal. Rushing ahead, Oreskovic, who's seen a lot of ice time, as you were mentioning earlier.
His 4th shift of the period, that's all he had in entire game 1.
Why do you think he's being used more?
I think probably the trust factor with Manny Malhotra playing at the center ice position. I think he's brought energy, and I think that's probably the biggest reason. Him and Tambellini got good speed. Malhotra, the veteran presence. I think it just goes with the confidence level of the coach of playing the 4th line.
And they don't overextend on their shifts. They're 35 seconds and off, so they're not going to get in trouble in their own zone.
Here's Malhotra in, able to shovel it around behind, played back up. And then Ehrhoff able to give it ahead to Tambellini, closed off effectively by McQuaid. And Tambellini and Caberlet having some words near the bench area and near Pierre. Never mind, Pierre. Thrown back along by Kelly. We don't need an accurate translation, but we know you are very good at editing. This is centered in front. Oh, and Bergeron a shot that is blocked down.
Look, that went off a Salo, Doc, right in front of the net. A great chance there for Bergeron. Nice pass by Tyler Seguin.
Good eye. That's exactly who got it, Salo.
Here's Seidenberg ripping it on across, and Chara can start back ahead. Chara trickled one on, and offside is called. 5:57 to go first period. 9 shots Bruins, 7 Vancouver, 1-0 Canucks. Welcome back to the NHL Stanley Cup Final on NBC, presented by Geico. Alex Burrows, the lone goal in this game. Mike Milbury and Keith Jones weighed in on how they felt about him not being here. He shouldn't be here, they said. What do you guys think?
I would agree. I think he knew exactly what he was doing, especially when he put his glove up and hid what was going on in between his glove and his mouth. No question, should have been suspended for 1 game.
What he did is not the direction that the league wants to go in, and he should have missed tonight.
Well, a lot of it's how it looks, too. It's one of those things that looks terrible, and Claude Julien said if that happened, that's class-free. Agreed. Here is Chara back, jabbing it around behind. Seidenberg saw it go off his stick, tried to catch up to it, could not. To a side on the battle. And it is Burrows with it, losing to Seidenberg. Punched around behind, and Chara is able to stride to it there.
You know, looking at that goal again, there's no doubt in my mind that great look from the goal cam where Tim Thomas, I think he was surprised at how quick that puck got on him, especially on the short side. It kind of handcuffed him.
Chara with one, poked at by Recchi. Another try by Bergeron, slid across the net mouth wide.
Well, he's had 2 good chances in this period from a very similar area.
Mark Recchi shoved it across. Seidenberg drilled one, but dubbed it through one in front that is collared by Bergeron and flipped stiffly off of Henrik Sedin, and he was able to play on to brother Daniel. Shift change on now for both the Bruins and the Canucks. Long toss ahead, and trouble came there, and then buried. Knocked down was Marchand. This is Caberlet with that.
Oh, Zelberts again.
He's mad at the Bruins for trading the med zone, Doc.
That might have been his junior hockey days in Waterloo, Iowa for the Waterloo Blackhawks of the United States Hockey League.
He was a heck of a player for Jerry York at Boston College for 4 years.
Captain of their team at one time. Oh, flattened was Paille, and Torres gets up, and he is shaken up from throwing that check.
He's in trouble with his left leg.
Taken along by Caberlet. Led perfectly to Peverly, who starts back ahead with Gregory Campbell. Lifted it across. Paille up with that one and hoisted it back in. Stopped there by Luongo. Reversed off the stick of Campbell. Back up now for the feather by Ehrhoff. That can be brought right back ahead. Working back on was Oreskovich. The return pass from Tambellini, given back to Tambellini and thrown stiffly at the front and blocked by Thomas. Right back up come the Bruins with it now, and it's Paille. Paille drifts, reached one over, and moving back in is Ferentz. Ferentz rammed by Rome as that one is thrown, and covering to make sure it doesn't escape behind him was Luongo.
Like the aggressiveness there of Andrew Ferentz jumping into the play and getting that puck towards the net. You saw the reaction from Roberto Luongo trying to pinch off on that post. Not sure where that puck was, but I like the aggressiveness from the Boston defenseman.
Fresh from the bench, Chara blasts one, and that one skittered wide and can be played by Bieksa. Bieksa pulls up and lays a long pass to Christopher Higgins. That one back checked away by Lucic, but gotten right back by Higgins and nudged back in. 3:20 to go, first period. Alex Burrows the only goal in this game. That one played along by Chara, bounced free. Higgins punched it back, and Chara must play again. Krejci could not work free with it, so it bounced back to Seidenberg. Lobbed around behind, and Chara with it. Good hitting on the part of Higgins. Careened on back to Seidenberg. Bruins cannot get through the neutral ice area. Chara yet again with under 3 minutes to go. Seidenberg drove it across. Hopped high, could not be played. Carried on back by Burrows and given across. Henrik Sedin with a shot. Oh, and that one injured Chara. Another try is grabbed and held by Thomas. Want more hockey? The NHL Game Center Premium app gets you live radio broadcasts of every Stanley Cup playoffs game, video highlights, and more right on your phone exclusively from Verizon.
An extended long shift there for Zdeno Chara and Dennis Seidenberg. To your point, Doc, the Vancouver Canucks doing a really good job in the middle of the ice. I think the Bruins got to get better support through the middle of the ice, and Zdeno Chara blocking the shot from Henrik Sedin. Nothing worse there at the end of a long shift. You're trying to get off and somebody bangs one right off your foot.
Here's Daniel Sedin, put it off Thomas's stick. And it is laid on back. What a nifty steal by Daniel Sedin right near the net. Punched back by Henrik Sedin.
Somebody got away with a hook there on the Vancouver side.
Brought back ahead by Kelly. Could not reach Peverly with that. Henrik Sedin on to Daniel Sedin. And fired it back to the corner, but an offside is called. Tomorrow, coverage of the French Open continues on NBC. An extraordinary tennis rivalry is renewed in the men's final as Rafael Nadal takes on Roger Federer. The French Open, presented by Geico, continues live tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern on NBC.
There's Rafi Torres back on the ice after a collision right in front of the Canuck bench, and now you have Chara and Seidenberg back on the ice. And you got the Sedins back on the bench, so I would anticipate late in the period, those guys, the Sedin line's going to come right back on the ice in the next shift.
Shot by Torres is directed wide. Marchand over to get that. Shoved off by LaPierre. Two ornery players side by side, one per team. This one wafted on back now where Seidenberg can give across to big Zdeno Chara. 6'9", 255. Playing it ahead now for Bergeron. That one left, but then brought on by Mark Recchi. LaPierre chopped at him and is testing his stick now to make sure it still is okay. Sammy Salo guided one off a Bruin stick. Forced off of Marchand, though, and ladled across by Torres for the carry back out. Lead pass was blocked by Chara. More cancellation by Marchand as he sends LaPierre down. And Chara. And off Horton. Nudged on in the midst of a change are the Bruins. This is carried on and then thrown by Higgins on goal and stopped by Thomas.
Playing the puck in and there's a way to forecheck. Now stop it right here. Here's Roberto Luongo. He's in behind the net. Somebody has to come and pressure him. And when you go and pressure, what are his options? They're around the boards. You have to take that away. If a goaltender go back and plays this, you don't go away from him. Somebody's got to pressure and then take away the options. And right now for the Boston Bruins, Luongo's making plays behind the net. One guy's going to get in on him, and then he'll throw the puck up around the boards, and you'll get something sustained. Maybe you get a defenseman pitching in as well, but I think that's something Bruins got to do a better job of.
Here's Bieksa shoveling one on goal that is guided away carefully by Thomas. Sent back on for Henrik Sedin, a weak toss, and a big ball went up from the crowd there. Nice finesse move by McQuaid. Gave it back up for Peverley, then on to Krejci. Nice pull there, and a lead ahead for Lucic, and along for Peverley. Chased off by Bieksa. Threw one in front that rattled around off of Alex Burrows, and Burrows able to help it out to center. Daniel Sedin brought it on. Henrik glides by as Daniel plays one across for Burrows. His shot, and that blocked wide by Thomas. 40 seconds to go in the period. Handcuffing move there, but Bieksa reacted well. Dealt it behind for Burrows' pass that came to Lucic.
Good hit there by Ferentz on Burrows.
It is Peverley gliding one ahead to Krejci, and Krejci shoots one that's carefully sent aside by Luongo. The Lou cheers come up with each stop. They're not booing. Certainly not booing him, and not booing anything in general.
Well, if they do, you can always think it's booing.
That's true. You can always convince yourself. Here's Kessler, stalemated by Bergeron. Up the boards now to Marchand with 5 to go. This will have to be a long shot by Bergeron, but then it goes back in deep. That'll do it. 11 shots apiece. Alex Burrows with the only goal from Higgins and Salo at 12-12. Coming up in the Pizza Hut intermission report, Mike Milbury, Keith Jones, and Liam McHugh with their favorite plays from our first period. Plus, there are the Sedin Quins, but the Bruins may think there are 2 Kesslers out there as well. That's ahead on the Pizza Hut intermission report. Shots 11 apiece. 1 penalty to Zdeno Chara for interference at 10:24. That was the power play goal scored by Alex Burrows. 20 minutes are in the books here from Rogers Arena. 1-0 the home team. Welcome back to the NHL Stanley Cup Final on NBC, presented by Geico. 1-0 in favor of Vancouver. Time now for Miller Lite presents Taste Greatness. And it focuses on a young man who began as a forward at age 8, but he changed to goaltending at 11 when the regular goalie didn't show up. He said he wanted to be a goaltender. His parents weren't encouraging him. They would rather he be a forward, but he has made a pretty fair living and had a wonderful career. Pierre.
Well, for the Boston Bruins, it's imperative that they start to move the puck to open ice rather than around the boards. And one of the things they started doing later in the first period, finding open ice. Here's the Exhibit A. Up the wall, find the inside part of the ice. That's where the seam is, because Vancouver's taking away the walls. Look at the blue sweaters taking away the walls, so the seam is through the inside part of the ice. When you go through the inside part of the ice, it's either D to the middle, D to the middle, or D to the wing right to the center. You can't come up the boards if you're Boston because of the way Vancouver's taking them away.
We are hearing it is 6 a.m. or a little after that in Kabul, Afghanistan, where folks are watching this telecast and saying they're enjoying the coverage, and we're sure glad because we're enjoying the hockey here as this comes from Ferentz off the face-off onto Chara and then up to Mark Recchi. And it ricocheted on back now to Kessler. Kessler gave it to Sami Salo. Pitched on to center and cut off there and stashed on back. No changes just yet in those Bruins lines. Edler drops back to play this defensively for Vancouver. Led on now for Mason Raymond. Out of the University of Minnesota at Duluth. Tried to play one on through, could not. Rattled one further and it went off Ferentz. Chasing around behind with it now is Raymond. Met there by both Boychuk and Bergeron. Reversed on now to Ferentz and burrowing in is Bieksa. Played it off of Ferentz. Lobbed on back to Ferentz by Marchand. So the Bruins weave their way out this time, and Recchi is able to rattle it back in and come to the bench for a fire wagon change. It is Kessler with it behind. Krejci is out there, as well as Nathan Horton. Marchand to the bench, replaced by Milan Lucic. That one went out of play, and there's always that protest of whether there'll be a penalty or not.
They're huddling up.
I think that's a penalty. Alain Vigneault's yelling it goes off the glass. Let's see. That's up. Does it touch the glass?
Yes, it does.
Then if
Yes,
it touches
it does.
the glass, that's fine. I don't see it. You have a better view, Edzo.
Yes, it goes off the high glass. Before it meets, it goes off the high glass.
And they're saying no. He's getting a penalty. The X is getting a penalty. They're saying no.
Watch this puck. It's in air. It goes right up there, and you see the bank off the high glass and then in to the crowd. Clearly, that was off the glass, into the stands. Should not be a penalty from my vantage point.
And you know what, Edzo, I would agree with you, but it's tough to see because of all the dark sweaters down here. That's why you lose it when you're on the ice.
Bud Light power play begins for the Bruins. Chara is at the front of the net. A drive and a save made by Luongo. Krejci fed one around and it went off of Horton and is picked up and started back out. Lugged on to center by Edler, and Edler just holds up and shoots. And that one got the glass. Pretty good rush and a leisurely one there by Edler, as there wasn't much of a challenge coming from the Bruins. Burrows laid it back and it's rocketed on around. Raymond tied up by Seidenberg. More time goes off the penalty clock. And then emerging is Raymond, able to get one out in front, and a shot by Ehrhoff is turned wide. Not a confidence builder for the team in white at the start of this power play. Ahead now comes Chara, lobbing one around behind.
Outstanding effort there by Mason Raymond.
Laid onto the back now to Caberlet. Chara takes his position in front of Luongo, and a shot is geared away by Aaron Rome of the Vancouver defense and drubbed back down.
I loved what Mike Milbury and Keith Jones were talking about right before puck drop. I mean, these are hard minutes for Zdeno Chara to be playing on the power play. Not used to that playing as a forward. I think that's why he got so tired so late in that game, in game one, is because of that extra ice time playing as a forward on the power play.
Off of Mark Recchi, Lucic is at the front of the net. Eddie Olczyk had designed that in place of Chara, and he is there. Thrown back along now by Ryder. Lucic peeled off to get this one. Nubbed off his stick, but he regathers. Hands on now to Ryder. Ryder fed one in front. Oh, and Recchi pounded at it, but Luongo was able to hang on. Little extra after the whistle, and helmetless is Lucic.
Beautiful play by Milan Lucic to get this puck to Michael Ryder. When we talk about in the open, this is the area of the ice that you have to attack. The Vancouver defense is down below the goal line. Great effort, outstanding stop by Roberto Luongo.
Not a very good play by Christian Ehrhoff. You understand what he's trying to do, but he's got to maintain his feet rather than sprawling out. He hung Manny Malhotra out to dry, and Roberto Luongo bailed everyone out.
If you're the Boston Bruins, you go to school on that play. Whoever's in front of the net, Chara, Lucic, doesn't matter. You want to play down low. Eventually, the points will be open. The defense will be open in order to shoot the puck. The Vancouver Canucks right now do not respect the shooters from the back end when shorthanded for the Boston Bruins.
That's bang on. That's why they're overplaying up high, and that's why that seam was available.
Well, to your point, they probably would respect the shooter if number 33 was the guy back there.
Get in that lane and just open up ice, and that's exactly what it is. It's adjustments, those in-shift adjustments.
Here is Lucic moving, shooting one that went wide. Lucic wedged one along near Ference. Battled for by Recchi, jostled a bit by Sammy Salo. Lucic able to keep it alive, but that one's gloved down and played on by Rome. Couldn't get it out. Lucic at the half boards, but then it squibbed on to be played by Bieksa. Across now in the exchange from Kessler. It's Bieksa shooting, turned aside by Thomas. Kessler run off by Ryder, so Lucic can take over. So an empty power play for the Bruins, 21 straight, 1 for 33 on the road. To all those in New England, we apologize. We're just reciting the numbers, and we know that they're troubling. Thrown back ahead now by Ference, and it ricocheted on back, and it can be played by Ehrhoff. German-born defenseman got it to Daniel Sedin, right back across to Burrows. Burrows drifting, sent one across the net mouth wide. Kelly nicely flicked it on, settled down there and carried on ahead for the pass from Peverley on to Ference. Ference gave it back across, and the shot is turned right back out again by Luongo. Held at the back, another shot by Seidenberg, and that ricocheted back out.
And a big-time screen by Peverley off the Seidenberg shot. Great save by Luongo.
Lobbed in by Henrik Sedin, and along to take it is Seidenberg. Seidenberg jabbed it to Kelly, quickly back up the wing. They're able to bring it and force it across. Carried on by Patrice Bergeron. Lobbed it back to the corner, wanted to get there for it, but could not. It squibbed on to Burrows, and it's sent off of Torres. Nice grab by Seidenberg to keep play alive. Then along to Sagan. Sagan turned, walled there by Bieksa. Tried to bounce off and keep it going. Did to Bergeron, but he fluffed on the shot. And then it must be played back out again by Alex Burrows and wedged to center.
Little makeshift line here with Bergeron, Kelly, and Sagan out on the ice.
After the power play for the Bruins, that's why.
Shoved back along by Sagan. Scaled on back to Chara. Fires! And that one knocked down in front. Taken back along and sent back out again by Oreskovich. Gotten by Chara, followed up by Oreskovich. And he's able to glide right back in. Oreskovich protects pretty well. McQuaid on him. Shoved onto the back for a hurried shot by Edler. Stopped by Thomas. Hit got all the way through. Carried back on now by Chara. Chara able to hoist it right back to the corner. Rome goes back to play that one. I beg your pardon, that was he, not Edler, who let that strong shot go just a moment ago. Salo nudged it out. Oreskovich saw that one flagged down and steered right back again. The Bruins can set it up. Trying to escape in was Krejci. No luck there, but it's Horton to Krejci. And getting a piece of it was Luongo. What a stop. Half-boards battle. Krejci lost that to Oreskovich. He's able to fight it as far as center, taken back by Krejci, followed up by Malhotra. And Malhotra plays it back in and comes to the bench for a change. 5 3/4 minutes gone in the second period. Final score in the first game is the second period score in this one, 1-0 Vancouver.
Good hit there, Lucic on Alberts.
To the back, a drive by Ferentz, and that had to be turned aside. Worked on further, off of Horton's stick. Krejci trying to shake the defense. Laid it on back to Ferentz. Fires, and that one rattled wide as Lucic got a piece of it. And it is popped out of play. Middle stages, second period. A save by Luongo on Krejci. It's still 1-0.
This is the Valvoline Next Gen right way to play. Here's Mike Milbury.
Roberto Luongo's taken all sorts of heat in the course of his career, but boy, has he come up big, and he's shown you exactly the right way to play. Watch these saves by Luongo. Cool, comfortable, and at the right moment, he's getting things done. Let me tell you, you don't want a better guy in this tournament right now than Roberto Luongo playing goal for you, and that, my friends, is the right way to play.
Valvoline Next Gen doing it the right way. 17-for-17 in this game, 36-for-36 in the first game for Roberto Luongo. Burrows nudges ahead, carried back on by Henrik Sedin, given across now for Andrew Alberts, former captain at Boston College, spun that one back in. It can be handled now and led along by Chara. Reversed back to him again by McQuaid. Very good aggressive forecheck here by the Vancouver Canucks, and that is flagged down and thrown back in by Henrik Sedin again. So they'll try once more, and that pass escaped the reach. Rich Peverley could not hold that one, and so it's thrown back in, and once again they'll try to get out of their own end. Mason Raymond leading the forecheck. Steered away by Kessler with Chara. Higgins drags it around behind. Higgins just holding and let a weak pass on back that had to be flung back in by Edler. Delayed offside is wiped now. As curling out and then back in that forecheck Vancouver.
Chara spent more time in behind his net, and there's another giveaway. Back-to-back giveaways by Chara.
They keep going up the boards. They're going to turn it over all night long. And that's what you have to do right there. Find the offside D.
Fed back in by Marchand, slowed down by Luongo, and forced back up the boards, and the Bruins, unaware that it was coming close to Recchi or to Bergeron. We're in the midst of a change, and that misfires and goes back down. No icing. Nearing the halfway point of regulation time in this one. One goal, and it came from Alex Burrows' power play goal at 12-12 elapsed time in the first period. Motoring ahead now is Seidenberg. One-hand pass and takes his own pass. Oh, and was he ever given a hit by Andrew Alberts? Andrew Alberts lays it ahead. LaPierre gives it across. Rifled back over, and Hansen couldn't reach that one. Poked back over and can be walked in by Torres. Drops it on back to Hansen. Hansen a drive, knocked down by the defensive Caberlet. Rebound around in front, flexed away by Thomas. Oh, what a close call there. After an initial, nice block by the defense. Carried on by Ryder. Spiked away from him and hurried back out to center by LaPierre. Given away by Hansen, and now can be dealt back by Sagan.
The Canucks got lucky. They had one too many men on the ice, and then they almost had the second goal of the game.
Well, that would just about be enough in terms of what the Bruins feel they're taking here, wouldn't it? Seidenberg goes circle to circle on a cross, and it can be started back out by John Paul Boychuk. Leads it ahead now to Krejci to the outside. Krejci handed it across. That handcuff pass on Horton, and then Lucic behind. There had been some alteration in the lines here early after that power play. Here's a shot that was blocked by Luongo. But now this is the big line back together again. Krejci lays it back. Boychuk a shot and a save. Luongo rebound. They score! Out of a net mouse scramble. It is Lucic, and the game is tied.
The creativity of David Krejci makes this all happen, Enzo. He pulls away from Christian Ehrhoff down low and sets it up for Johnny Boychuk. What a play.
Great battle in behind the net by Milan Lucic. He won that battle, and then great support below the goal line. There's the play to Pierce. Talking about Krejci with the shot. Lucic finds this puck, gets a stick on the ice, and puts it in behind Roberto Luongo.
And Boychuk's able to get it through because of how quickly Krejci moved it to him. And you see Lucic outmuscle Ehrhoff at the point of attack. He wants that puck. It's a different Milan Lucic than we've seen earlier in this series, and it's 1-1.
What are you noticing differently about him, Pierre?
He's competing harder. He's moving his feet. He's establishing physical presence.
He brings it on again and lobs it in. The East Vancouver-born Lucic, and had he been able to get that check where he wanted it to, we might have a stretcher. Along with this now, and a shot is deflected wide and skidding into the boards, was Christopher Higgins. Flung along now for Nathan Horton. Tipped it ahead, and Lucic is able to bring it in. He's got Horton breaking. Fed it across to him. Oh, and a save by Luongo. McQuaid flicked it back on, and Krejci to play it there. Luongo showing world-class credentials in making some stops here as the Bruins starting to bring it on. Backhanded in by Boychuk. Stopped by Luongo, but it skipped off his stick. Meanwhile, there is a change in lines for Boston. Marchand and Recchi are out there with Bergeron. Cut off by Marchand. From Recchi, he's able to flick it back into the corner. Bieksa there, nudged it behind, and right there to get it is Bergeron. Then to Caberlet. Caberlet twisted one behind. Recchi trying to get there, taken by Marchand. Bruins getting an edge here in play right now. To the back it comes to Boychuk. Spun over to Caberlet. Off the boards, able to shunt it back to the corner. Down to the ice went Bergeron. Gets back up, and it came right to him. Laid on back to Caberlet. Across it comes to Boychuk. Led on to Recchi, and a shot is wide. Marchand with it again. Pushed it back further. And we get a stoppage of play. What have we here? Penalty against the Canucks. A celebration for the Bruins. The NHL Stanley Cup Final on NBC presented by Geico. Boston power play coming up. Time for Edward Jones FaceTime. Pierre is with Bruins coach Claude Julien.
Well, how are you going to break down their pressure forecheck because it's hemming in a lot?
Well, it is. You know, we got to make better passes, but our sentiment's got to come down a little lower in support, and I think our sentiment right now is getting caught high, and that's not helping us out.
It looks like you're much more aggressive on the forecheck. Is that helping you force more turnovers?
Well, yeah, it does, and that's something we've been wanting to do for a while, but it's hard to do when you keep turning pucks over in the neutral zone.
Thanks, Coach.
But thank you.
Those are Dana Chara to start up front on this power play unit on the power play.
It is Caberlet, then Krejci. Work to the outside and back to Caberlet. Led on across. Seidenberg gave it to Caberlet, and a shot was patted away by Luongo. Battled for behind, to a side. Squib back over near Nathan Horton, and it's punched up the boards where Kessler is able to get it as far as center. Swept on back now for Caberlet. Fed on back to Seidenberg. Krejci and Lucic are waiting as he gains the zone, moves and shoots, and it's turned aside by Luongo. The Red Sea parted, didn't it? Rattled on around and up into the mesh, and so play is stopped.
That went off of Milan Lucic. This faceoff should be outside the zone. But there's the penalty on Aaron Rome for wrapping around Brad Marchand. Right call being made. But this puck was shot around. It went off the glove of Milan Lucic, went into the neshing. And the faceoff's going to stay inside. They're going to say that Vancouver shot this into the neshing in behind.
Well, Enzo, you're going to get your wish. Big Z's on the back end, ready to tee it high and let it fly.
So who goes to the front, Pierre? You figure Ryder will go there?
At some point, either Ryder or Bergeron will go there.
Okay.
Recchi has to go in because Bergeron got thrown out.
Recchi playing the point here on this second power play unit.
Although momentarily you got your wish on Bergeron being back there. And Chara.
They've had some good looks tonight. They've had some good looks.
Chara dropped it off, carried on by Ryder. Ryder filtered it through neatly, spiked away from Recchi, covered by Ryder, and swept across to Chara. Chara with wrister, score! And the Bruins get a power play goal and break the tie.
It's all about the entry, Edzo, and it's a good job by Michael Ryder gaining entry and then smart distribution by Bergeron to Chara. And we talk about the importance of Bergeron. The entry's easy, and then Bergeron takes it from Ryder to Chara, and number 19, Seguin, Edzo, right there.
Just a quick little shot, a rolling puck, and this puck takes a bounce about 4 feet in front of Roberto Luongo. Mark Recchi, top right of your screen, is coming in, but Tyler Seguin might have went off the skate of Mark Recchi in front of the net, but you love Zdeno Chara just firing that rolling puck. Left part of your screen, here comes Recchi. I don't know if it skipped over his skate or not, but Luongo not ready for it, and a huge power play goal there for the Bruins.
They only had to do it right once, and they did.
Bruins are 1 for their last 1 on the power play as Seidenberg goes back to get it. What an important goal for them to break this tie. The first lead that they have had in the series. Led away from Marchand, who moves back in with Sammy Salo. Marchand kicked it along. Peverley took it there. In their playoff run, the Canucks have been a better team in the second half of games, particularly in the third period, than in the first half. Here is Seidenberg keeping one. That is the confidence that they have built. The Bruins have their confidence in other ways, and they have come back to break this tie. Registering it on now with Peverley nudging through, but Daniel Sedin trying to lay one on to Burrows. It came back up to him. He ripped one that careened off Ferentz, but he'll regather, and the Canucks have made another change. They get out Maxim Lapierre. This is Peverley with a shot, and getting a piece of that was Luongo. What a scorching shot. It is held now by Ferentz. I don't know if they weren't ready for that attack or what happened, but all of a sudden Peverley was sneaking in up that wing. Taken away by Krejci and lobbed near the front. After it and brushing it aside was Ehrhoff, lifted by Alberts, shunted down by Torres, carried ahead by Lapierre. Lapierre moving on in. He's got Hansen near the net. Through one that's off Thomas. Squibbed around in front and is dug out there and hoisted back out by Lucic. So Rome in the last 6:50 of the second period. Bieksa fed it across. Rome there. Deflected on a cross for the play by Hansen. Gave it up to Horton. Swept it away, but right over for a pass in front. Scrambled there out of the crease. As it was stopped dead in the crease, but it would not go for the Canucks that time as Lucic came along. Nudged it on back. Rome reversed it. Rubbed out by Lucic. That enabled Krejci. Oh, was he ever hit high and hard by Torres. Lapierre dropped one back in. McQuaid going back for this. Thomas Caberlet brings it ahead. Run off there by Higgins. Taken on by Kessler. Here's Kessler feeding one in front. Oh, and what a save by Thomas on Hansen. Another drive, and that one deflected up out of play by McQuaid. No Bruin has played more minutes in a playoff year than Tim Thomas. He broke the old record during this game tonight.
Remember that stop. Yannick Hansen was actually going for a change. Great patience by Ryan Kessler. But look at the push by Tim Thomas to get this with his pad. Hansen just in a little bit too tight to be able to get elevation on that shot.
That's off a Thomas Caberlet turnover. Yannick Hansen not happy with it. Tim Thomas bailed out Thomas Caberlet big time.
Over 1,200 minutes and tremendous performances registered by Tim Thomas this year, breaking the old record of Andy Moog that was set 21 years ago.
Great patience there by Ryan Kessler to be able to make that pass while it was rolling and get it all the way over to Hansen.
So Thomas behind. Caberlet reverses. Boychuk takes. It is the Bergeron unit out there with Marchand and Recchi. Fed ahead, but too far for Recchi. He goes in after it. Moves in with Sammy Salo and brushed it behind. Kessler to take it there. Ohio Stater played it along now for Mason Raymond, who flung one to center. Nubbed across by the defense combination and laid back along near Chara. The big man able to sweep it in, and a couple of the Canucks chased him down long after he dropped it back in deep. Rattled on out to center. Seidenberg blocked it there and forced it right back in. So Sammy Salo takes over and guides it behind. The one-time Ottawa Senator, victimized by a lot of injuries over his career, but he has been a game trooper to just keep coming back each time. It is Chara flinging it along. Off of Seidenberg. Jab free by Oreskovich to Tambellini. Fed one around in front. Tambellini. Oh, and it would not go. It went off a stick.
I think it was Michael Ryder's in front of the net. Fourth line for the Vancouver Canucks with some energy. Great play by Tambellini around the net.
Laid back ahead for Michael Ryder. Flung one up the wing, hoping for Sagan. Sagan moving back in for this one. Canceled out. And an icing touch-up comes from Ehrhoff.
Aggressive forecheck by Tambellini. There's Michael Ryder with Chara's stick as well with Ryder there. But the wraparound opportunity. Here's Tambellini. And then there's the stick of Ryder and Chara denying that wide open net.
Mark Recchi's third goal of the playoffs. It did glance off him, as you thought, Eddie. Chara and Bergeron get the assist on that power play goal at 11:35.
Veteran guy knows where to go to get to the front of the net, and you never know.
Ryder able to dig this one out, but then it's brushed on back, knifed away by Seidenberg as after it was Burrows. And Ryder got as far as center. Brought back on now by Kelly and flung back in wide. 4 1/4 to go, second period. Shots are 24-19 in favor of Boston. Recchi's goal is the tiebreaker right now. Daniel Sedin walks it ahead. Sedin flung one in front that spiked away on the backhand of Seidenberg. Bieksa flipped it on. Bergeron attacked that one and lobbed it back out. Chased down by Marchand, brushed away from him, but he recoils to get it back again. Marchand drifting with it, shooting, save made by Luongo, rebound carried now by Bergeron. Stood up there by LaPierre, coming by to help us. Marchand, he's got it, tried to play the point, but in the way was Torres, and so it is Bieksa laying it back out to center. Punched right back along again by Johnny Boychuk. The puck this time, not the man. Thrown back across by Torres, and then Bieksa. Hands on now for LaPierre, and a shot is covered by Thomas. Right on the spoked B. Mark Remy, ever the opportunist. No one has more experience in these playoffs, and no one's happier right now.
Boston leads in Game 2. One of the reasons why they're here, Michael Ryder in Game 5 against the Montreal Canadiens. He plays goal. If Thomas Buchanan scores there, maybe Boston doesn't get out. And how about this one? Eddie, great eye. Tambellini has a wide open net. The big stick of Chara, and with a little help from Michael Ryder playing goal.
And one thing you go to school on, Pierre, in that situation, if you're the Vancouver Canucks, Michael Ryder, a winger, his man is way out, about 35 feet out. So if they're going to collapse that low, what is open? Back to the point, so low to high, get your defenseman involved. Most teams have that type of coverage where you can put a blanket around 5 guys around their goaltender. 5 guys in a picture, you hear that phrase a lot. So for the Vancouver Canucks, move that puck from low to high and get some opportunities that way.
This one squibbed across to Chara, led it a little bit too far, hacked along by Rome, and Chara settled that one down, tried to pump it on further, second effort worked, and Krejci nubbed it across. Lugged on now by Lucic, who brings it in. Dropped on, a shift change on, and a lot of screaming that there might have been too many men on the ice there against the Bruins. Meanwhile, Lucic over to Horton, and a shot went past the glove hand of Luongo. Barron's able to drift it behind, Lucic to take it there. Has Adam McQuaid at the point, gave it on to Horton. Ran into the screen there of several of the Vancouver players, and it is thrown back along by Bieksa to center. Mason Raymond able to walk it on, sized up there by Ferentz. He punched it through, and along now for McQuaid. Then Lucic slides it on. Carried back on by Krejci, and Krejci just flings it wide. Edler to drub it back off the boards, and it just popped on back to center for an easy play from Seidenberg to Chara. Chara able to drop it back in. 2:25 to go. Second period of play. Carried ahead by Kessler. Kessler drifting. Tried to slither it through and did, and a shot was stopped by Thomas from Daniel Sedin. Lugged back on now by Peverley. On a cross for a feedback. back to Chara, and that one went high and off the glass. Are we going end to end here? Played back across for Alex Burrows, drifts on in. Burrows waits with it now. Shot one that's blocked out in front by Kelly. Kelly able to scale it off the short glass and back out. It hopped out of play. There'll be no penalty here.
What great passing by the Boston Bruins after a real good opportunity for the Vancouver Canucks. A little bit of give and go. And then the shot that just takes off the stick of Zdeno Chara.
And then Ryan Kessler, puck possession skills to Daniel Sedin. What an opportunity. And Timmy Thomas with the right pad shuts it down.
Beautiful pass again by Ryan Kessler. And that play happened because Zdeno Chara did not get the puck in deep. Turnover, great chance, great stop.
Here's Brad Marchand. Centered one off the outside of the cage that's sent away by LaPierre, but dug right out by Bergeron to Marchand. Sent on back, but it's squibbed off Johnny Boychuk and is played by Ferentz. Andrew Ferentz dealt it back over for Recchi. He pitched it along and out of play from center. No penalty. Tomorrow, who will be the next champion? The nation's top teams, including Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Cal, Utah, and more, battle it out literally at the Rugby Sevens Collegiate Championship. Tomorrow, 4 Eastern on NBC. Coverage begins 2 Eastern on Versus. It's a rough game.
I think they probably enjoy, especially game 1. A few scrums.
Yes.
In this Stanley Cup final to this point.
There's some interesting terms in that sport. Guys that are fast and play on the outside, they call them hookers.
Well, it is a game in which blood is to be ignored, I guess, because it does get rough. Puck play back off, and there's not a lot of protection in the way of shoulder pads or anything else like that. Twisted on back now, and it is Ferentz with it. And then Krejci. Led back across for Horton. Has Lucic moving. Pushed it off the defense. Went to get it and got there. Lucic pulled up at the front. Oh, and the pass skipped right across. And a penalty is coming up. It'll be against the Canucks. Well, he did not do a flyby, Lucic. He went to the front of the net, and as Eddie Olczyk would always say, he stopped there.
You're going to draw attention. Good things are going to happen when you do go to the net. And with no Dan Hamhuis.
See the breakout through the middle, Edzo? That opens it all up, and then you create the one-on-one on the wall. And there's a penalty. Rome just slowing up on Nathan Horton.
Chara left point. Right point Ryder. Sagan out there with Recchi. They are the wingers for Bergeron. It is lifted back out by Manny Malhotra. Cranked back in on the hard around by Chara. Sent back by Malhotra. Tries to recoil and get it again. Cannot. Ryder pulled the trigger on a shot that whistled wide. Pitched along in the backhand of Sagan. Fired back past Chara and back down. Tim Thomas carefully played it to Bergeron. Game 5 of the Calder Cup playoffs in the books tonight. A win for Binghamton. They are ahead 3-2 in that series as it ships Tuesday to Houston. That's the American Hockey League. Knifed away now and around behind to be taken by Bieksa. Bieksa fired it further. Booted back along by Bergeron down to the ice. And it is fed back in deep, and Bieksa will go to get it again. Tries the other side this time, and that worked.
If Raymond took a quick look there, they would have been off to the races a 2-on-1 because Bergeron, who had done a good job of keeping it in, went for a change.
Dennis Seidenberg will get a different stick. It'll be a lot better for the third period. That was the last try that the Bruins had, 25-21 in shots. Coming up in the Discover Intermission Report, Mike and Keith put on their coaching hats plus Liam and second period highlights. In that period, Lucic from Krejci and Boychuk at 9 minutes. Recchi on the power play from Chara and Bergeron at 11:35. Vancouver's goal was by Alex Burrows in the first. It's 2-1 in favor of that team at the end of 2 periods of play. Stanley Cup Final on NBC, presented by Geico. Power play time to the Bruins. 59 seconds worth to start the third period. Zdeno Chara will not be out for the start of the power play. These are comparative numbers. Game 1 to tonight. Power play, they had more time than they have tonight, and he was in the box for the only shorthanded situation. He spent 6:17 on the ice, penalty killing in game number 1. Mark Recchi has the tiebreaker here. A power play goal from Chara and Bergeron at 11:35. Nobody in the game active today has played more and has more goals than Mark Louis Recchi, 43 years of age. $59 goals in the playoffs for him and 2 Stanley Cup championships. Krejci and Kessler jostling. But we are underway here in the third. Sammy Sato blasted it back around. Chara remains on the bench, so it'll be interesting to see what the setup is here. Might be Krejci to the outside. Lucic goes to the front. He's the guy that will go there. Seidenberg able to play this. Seidenberg reversed it back to Krejci, and Krejci just waits now. Gives up to Seidenberg. Dealt side of the net. Lucic there. Threw one on a cross. Settled down by Krejci. Given back to Caberlet. Caberlet across. Seidenberger's shot. It's held by Luongo.
But Lucic has got to move over. As soon as that puck is on its way, he has to mirror Roberto Luongo. Nice pass for Tomas Caberlet to Dennis Seidenberg. Watch what ends up happening. Lucic is in front of net. He's fine. He's there, but as that puck moves, he has to move with Luongo and not allow him to see the shot.
See all the time and space for Thomas Caberlet? That's how much they're compressing down low. They just don't respect the shot, and it makes it harder for everybody down low.
Here's Seidenberg across. Hands across to Caberlet. Caberlet fires. Pad stop is made by Luongo. Stumbling down to the ice, LaPierre. There'll be a penalty coming up to the Bruins on that. Headed off will be Seidenberg. 4 aside for 8 seconds.
After the opportunity for Tomas Caberlet, a big rebound given up. There goes Max LaPierre, and there you see the left leg stick out by Dennis Seidenberg. The right call being made. 4-on-4 hockey for a short period of time, as you mentioned, Doc. And then that man right there, Claude Julien, and the Boston Bruins will be shorthanded.
Vancouver's power play has struck on its only opportunity of the night on the third shot that they had while Chara was in the box. Boychuk slid it back down, and Luongo with a careful stop. Power play is on for the Canucks. Christian Ehrhoff dropped it on back. Sent on by Henrik Sedin, and across. Henrik Sedin able to gain the zone, but then gave it up, and it is just scaled back down again by Boychuk. He comes to the bench for a change.
Gregory Campbell and Danny Paille haven't played much in this game. Their live legs are out there to kill the penalty for the Bruins right now. Numbers
11 and 20 in white. Rushed along now, and Kessler has it. That one chopped on across and fed back out on the backhand of Paille, and so Ehrhoff goes back. Boy, Paille was gaining on him, wasn't he? Those fresh legs you pointed out, Pierre. Henrik Sedin walks it on back, gives to Daniel. Deflected back out again by Campbell and brushed on.
Role players accept and execute. 7th and 6th shifts respectively for Campbell and Paille.
Brought back on now by Bieksa. We could hear from all the way across the ice somebody at the Bruins bench yelling, "Great job," as they came to the bench on a change.
There's no better feeling there to get that admiration from the guy sitting on the bench, and the coach is in behind, and very quiet in this building right now.
18,860 are here, hoping to make some noise. Not right now. Bieksa with it. Fed it on through, given back to him by Higgins. Lobbed on and spiked by Boychuk. Around behind Burrows, then along to Bieksa, but taken away by Kelly, and Kelly makes them go back. 15 to go on the power play. Not a shot on this yet for Vancouver. Bowling Green Falcon, Kevin Bieksa ahead. That one deflected back and planed away to the corner by Thomas. Marchand to get it there. Knew the hit was coming and braced for it. Led on back and crisply across to Ehrhoff. Penalty time up. Ehrhoff waits and shoots one that's spiked wide by McQuaid. Chopped away from Hansen. Brought back ahead by Seidenberg. Seidenberg lobs it in and goes right in after it and decides the better of it. And he comes to the bench for a change defensively.
Smart play. He knows what he's out here for, to shut down the Sedins and Burrows.
Here's Hansen sending one across. That was away from LaPierre, who was defended by Ferentz. Touchback out by Marchand. Lobbed on back, and there's a lot of yelling of too many men, but right back on now with it comes Horton. Horton brushed one across, and it was off Krejci's stick as a kneeling block by Hansen almost worked. Punched away from Henrik Sedin, regathered by Lucic. Popped off a stick and is overskated then as Hansen tried to get out with it. So Seidenberg can flex it across to Chara, and he's able to stash it with the help of Krejci back in. Rome to play it there. Rushed a bit by Horton. Played right back out for Alex Burrows again. Crowd starting to react now as Burrows gets some help from Henrik Sedin to plop it behind. Daniel Sedin steps to it there, left it behind, and Chara takes over.
Sedin heard Chara coming there. You didn't want anything to do with that puck and make a play.
It is brought on by Horton and scaled back in. He who decides to change lines often lives to work another shift, right? Laid back out, and this one spiked back in by Ryder. And off of Kessler, jabbed in, but no luck there for Mason Raymond.
Boston done a really good job in the middle of the ice area between the two blue lines of not allowing Vancouver any free movement or odd man opportunities through the middle of the ice.
That was something. Oh, there's a carom shot right in front. Oh, and a rising shot by Peverley. Turned out a play by Luongo, and shaken up on the play is Bieksa.
This is not good news. Danny Hamhuis is not playing Ed Zone, Doc. And if Bieksa's hurt, this is terrible news for the Canucks.
Watch Kevin Bieksa. He's going to go in and make contact. I believe that is Rich Peverley. Watch the stick of Peverley after he gives him the hit. He gives him a little cross check and then a quick little shot with the stick right to the midsection of Kevin Bieksa. So it was the cross check by Bieksa, the retaliation there by Peverley that went unnoticed, but clearly a stick to the midsection.
Could that have got him in the bad spot, Edzo, where there's no padding in the back of the leg and your foot kind of falls asleep?
Yeah, you get your nerve there. You get a quick little slash, the quick stick of Peverley coming out of the corner, and yeah, absolutely, it just shuts down the feeling in the leg, and it just gives out. It's almost like a pitcher in baseball. Your dead arm. Well, all of a sudden you get a chop like that somewhere in the lower extremities. Everything just shuts down, and you try to move and you can't.
Is there anything you can do other than wait? Can you, like, try to use it at all or flex it? Or
you have no feeling.
None. All right, here is Bergeron on the faceoff. Tangles up there with Malhotra. And this is scaled back out and thrown out of play. And the faceoff will be back near Roberto Luongo. The series shifts to Boston, and it shifts to Versus on Monday. Pre-game 7:30, game at 8. Same for the contest on Wednesday, then back here on NBC if necessary. Then back and forth we go. Post-game coverage on Versus after tonight's game and after all of the games of this series. Here's McQuaid blasting back in. Rattled around behind, came right up near Paille, who leaped to try and grab it, but could not. Here's Caberlet swinging one on. Went off the stick of Sagan. Chased off by Malhotra. Lobbed back out again by Campbell. Taken on by Paille. Paille defended nicely by Edler, but the follow-up in the pass behind Sagan from Campbell. Fed back from McQuaid, and that had to be blocked away by Luongo.
Nice play there by Tyler Sagan. Just didn't get rid of the puck. Looked, saw what his options were. It was McQuaid who got a quick shot off, and Luongo had to fight that off with traffic in front.
Sagan got a chance on that line because Peverley was sat down just for a brief respite. Claude Julien trying to keep as many fresh legs as possible going.
No shots on Tim Thomas this period by the Canucks. This one thrown all the way back, and Ehrhoff with it. Ehrhoff a shot, and Thomas grabs that one. 5:40 into the period before he faced that first shot.
A good opportunity for the Vancouver Canucks, but what's going on? And the Boston Bruins coaching staff is doing a wonderful job of getting the matchups they want. Seidenberg and Chara on the ice when the Sedin twins are out there. And I think at some point, if you're Alain Vigneault, you got to hold back. You got to try to play that cat and mouse type of game to get those guys out there in a situation when those big guys on defense for the Bruins are resting.
Henrik Henrik Sedin opposite Peverley. Bounces on near Seidenberg. Pumped on further, fed by Peverley, kept alive by Alberts. Oh, a quick shot went wide from the stick of Henrik Sedin. Brad Marchand able to thread it on back down, and Alberts back after it. No icing here. Clock continues to move to the smaller numbers from 14:00 to 13:59. Daniel Sedin chipped it back out. Led by Burrows. Ahead, it's carried on by Henrik Sedin. Fires! And that one ricocheted off Thomas and went wide.
Nice back check by Mark Recchi. Coming back hard because that would have been a clean 2-on-1.
Rushing back out with it is Edler. Edler swung it back in. Oh, and Thomas, they've lost that one momentarily as it sailed wide. Off of Horton, Bieksa shot, and that ricocheted off a player in front. Boychuk, and unable to pull the trigger on the shot. Hansen, another shot is blocked wide. Hansen gave it behind. Fighting for it, Ferentz, led onto the back now. Held there by Bieksa. Bieksa peels off and drops it back around the board. It kicked off Hansen and then careened on for Lucic to feed back ahead for Horton.
Oh, a collision there with Torres and Boychuk, right with Tim Thomas, and the puck just jumped over the stick of Jannik Hansen.
Puck back up the boards, and here's McQuaid with it, connecting back on now for Krejci. Threw it on across. Tough play for Horton to make, and he gubbed one in front that can be read by the defense and started back up.
Good back check by Lucic to force a turnover.
Laid back across, and here's Horton for that one. Fed it on, and McQuaid shot and a pad stop made by Luongo. Adam McQuaid battling the corner boards, threw it behind, and Bieksa holds there. Good to see him back out and playing, as he did in the last minute or so of this period as it's gone off.
To your point, Pierre, about the great hustle, the back check there by Milan Lucic. He did a real nice job in his own zone, denying Kevin Bieksa a quick shot on goal, so an active shift.
This one is fed wide. Thrown along by Raymond. Right after it goes Higgins. Turning away from Kelly. Fed it back for Ehrhoff. Ehrhoff flipped one that went through Kessler to the corner. Ferentz jammed it up the boards, but off Kessler's skates, and so it careens now for Boychuk. Boychuk lifted it off the short glass and back down. Will not go for an icing. And Alberts is chased off there by Rich Peverley. Raymond able to take that one. Some of the crowd is starting to chant, "Go Canucks, go." They'll be joined later on by others, perhaps. But it is Chara pitching this along. Came back on now to Marchand. Fed back up to Bergeron. Moved up the wing for Recchi, but he was canceled out. Given to Marchand again, who's had quite a game tonight for himself. Off the back of the net, that one careened now to Alberts to play along to Ehrhoff. Slid it on now for Henrik Sedin. Got it to center and then dove to pump it ahead. It is Burrows dropping it on. Daniel Sedin flipped one that careened behind. To the outside now, it's thrown by Burrows to the back. Here's Edler holding, shooting one, shrugged away by Thomas. Battle for it in front, and it kicked back onto Marchand. Marchand could not clear it out. Taken on by Burrows. Ricochets across. Quick changes of possession. Salo a shot. Oh, and that one cracked off the glass. Tim Thomas back into his goal crease yet again. Taken on now by David Krejci, and then it's turned right back over again. Daniel Sedin save made by Thomas. Led on back once again, and it's Salo trickling it on. Taken there and shoved back across by Malhotra. Edler with it. Shoots one, and that one deflected up out of play. Nothing much to this, is there? Now the crowd has come to life. It's a part of the equipment. Both goalies have made mask saves tonight. What chaos! 2-1 Boston. Only Verizon gives you more Stanley Cup playoff hockey than ever before with the NHL Game Center Premium app. Text NHL to 8603 to download now. Kevin Bieksa hanging in there. Came back out and played a real strong shift, as a matter of fact, coming back from having that attack on him by Rich Peverley. Henrik Sedin still looking for his first shot on goal in the series. Salo to the back and a drive. Oh, and that ricocheted off one of the Bruins in front. It was Seidenberg. And he is limping around a bit. Lucic able to play it there. Rubbed it on back. Chara handcuffed by that. It came along to Henrik Sedin, who takes it to the outside and lobs it on back to Edler. Shovel shot. It is fed side of the net. Score! Daniel Sedin!
centerman on the ice, Bergeron, Krejci, but the help from the wing set up all this attack zone time. And then 22 for Vancouver. Daniel Sedin ties it up.
Just barely. He went to the far side. That puck just got over the pads of Tim Thomas,
who, to his credit, was still flailing away at it, as you could see in that one slow motion replay. What a move by Ryder, and he forced it wide and burrows right in after the rebound, but it comes on to Peverley, dropped it on back for LaPierre. Spun back by Kelly. Rome jammed one on. Turned around was Torres by Ryder. Ryder's had a strong shift here right at the start. He steps to the outside, stashes back to Boychuk in a shot, and that nubbed off someone and hit wide. That was off of Torres. Played now by Ferentz. Slugged wide of the cage, bounced onto Rich Peverley. Peverley turned around by the hit from Torres. Back to Boychuk, fires, and that one blocked down courageously in front. And skyhooked back out again by Rome, and he is shaken up as he comes to the bench. The pro game at this time of year is not for the faint of heart. And for anyone with low pain thresholds, brought back ahead now by Higgins. Higgins threw one across that ricocheted back and is taken by Ehrhoff. Trouble there. Kessler just did not have enough reach or room. Recchi played it back in, and Alberts went to get it. Recchi on him. Mark Recchi has had 4 hits in this game. That would be number 5. Laid along now for the tip by Higgins. Back to center and fired in.
I think he's had a real active game. He's kept his shifts really short, contributing on the power play, but I think he's had a real strong game too.
McQuaid saw that one knifed along. Ehrhoff could not slug it across. Jabbed away by Kessler, swung back in again, and a careful block of that one made by Tim Thomas. McQuaid waiting to give it on across to Chara. Big man played it back out to center, but it careened there to be flung back to him. Just waits and shoves one ahead neatly onto Krejci's stick. Krejci fed onto Horton, and a shot was deflected wide by Edler.
He had Milan Lucic wide open to the right of Luongo.
Daniel Sedin brings it back on, tries to fight his way through, but it's knifed across and played carefully back onto Krejci's stick and handed on to Lucic. Trying to get by Salo, no luck. Salo able to hook it on back, and the bouncer comes near Seidenberg.
Boy, does Sammy Salo take away space so quickly in the neutral zone.
Reversed on to Seidenberg. Under 8 minutes to play, third period. A 2-2 tie. Lucic able to gain the zone and burrow to the outside. Tried to flip one back for Seidenberg. Cut off, though, and scaled back out again by Malhotra. Taken on further by Hansen. Hansen sailed one well wide, and it bounced right up the boards and can be led back across on the bounce for Peverley. To the catching glove of Luongo, that one goes, and the chant is Manny, Manny for Malhotra. This is the NHL Stanley Cup Final on NBC, presented by Geico 2-2. Monday night coverage of the Stanley Cup Final continues on Versus Game 3. 7:30, our coverage begins. Post-game show as well, just as Versus will have after this game tonight.
Right now, there's a lot of confidence on the Vancouver Canucks bench after that Daniel Sedin goal, but more focus on the Bruins bench. They don't want to lose their structure, and that's how they're hanging in right now.
Burroughs and Edler got the assists on Daniel Sedin's 9th goal of the playoffs. This is Kelly shooting, and that one tipped off of Luongo and hopped over against the glass. Ryder had that one knifed away. Ehrhoff and Ryder go testing for that. Kessler came by, and up the boards it comes to Malhotra. Chara chases down, and the clock winks down to the last 6 minutes and change. Just under 7 to go. Chara lobbed it ahead, away from Ryder, punched on by Alberts. Right back up the wing, it's brought. Raymond, a shot shrugged away. Rebound is popped wide. Canucks starting to bring it on now. You can sense it. Oreskovich saw that one taken by Chara. Gave it up to Raymond. Raymond able to step free. Jabbed one to the outside, set to Alberts, and a shot saved, made by Thomas on a deflection. And up the wing, it's brought on by Michael Ryder. Here's Ryder faking the drive and then tried to slither one through, and Alberts said no to that. So Marchand. Peverley gives it back to him. Finds Bergeron. Back on to Recchi. Knifed down by Sammy Salo.
He's made a couple of those plays in the middle of the ice. The Bruins got to make sure they get it in behind them.
Here comes Boychuk. Angling one. He wanted to reach Recchi with that drive. And then it's sent back out to center. It'll be an odd man rush. Henrik Sedin moving up with Daniel. Henrik Sedin had it knifed away by the back check of Ferentz. Laid back up the board. Brad Marchand able to slide it across. Recchi able to gallop ahead with it now. Mark Recchi gaining the zone. Twirling back along behind Edler. Backhanded one that careened all the way back for LaPierre. And another odd man rush. Only one man back. McQuaid. It's held and the pass blocked by McQuaid. They punch around at it. It went off Thomas. He's able to grab. And play is stopped. The action is not until now. 61 shots. 4 goals. Tons of chaos. Odd man rushes galore for the Canucks lately. But it's still 2-2.
Well, there's Max LaPierre, 40 in blue, and there's Patrice Bergeron. Look at him taunting him with his glove in his face. Probably asking him if he wants to take a bite out of it. We had that back in game 1, and yeah, this is talk about gamesmanship. They got it all going right now, but I'll tell you, and Pierre, I'm sure you can hear the coaches talking. You got to play whistle to whistle. This is no time to be selfish, no time to be getting even and be shorthanded here in game 2.
It's not just the coaches, it's the players on the bench when the guys were coming off.
It is Lucic with Krejci and Peverley now. Lucic peeling back, giving on to Chara. He's got Seidenberg with him. Bieksa back defensively for the Canucks. Aaron Rome there as well. It is Lucic with this one. Swept away, though, by the reach of Mason Raymond. Rome worked on by Horton. Puck came to the back to Chara, across to Seidenberg, and he dubbed the shot wide. Rebound skipped away from Horton, and it started back up. No luck there for Higgins, and so Seidenberg connects with Chara.
Another good back check there by Milan Lucic.
His feet are so much better tonight than they were in game 1. Here he is again on Burrows.
Didn't get as much of him as he wanted, but it's dropped on back now for the play of the defense and scaled on down. That'll be an icing. One of the rare ones we've had in this game, and the face-off will be back near Luongo. 4:36 to go, third period, game tied at 2. Tomorrow, coverage of the French Open continues on NBC. An extraordinary tennis rivalry is renewed in the men's final. Rafael Nadal takes on Roger Federer. The French Open, presented by Geico, continues live tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern on NBC. Dries Bergeron to bet this, and he won it. But the shot by Marchand was blocked. Well, Bergeron, so important to this Bruins team, especially in plays like that. Face-off win and a chance to work there. But now the Canucks can bring it back out. Laid across for Daniel Sedin, knifed away by Rome. And all of this is offside. Inside the glass, here's Pierre.
Well, Tim Thomas has been such a story so far this playoff season for the Boston Bruins, a Vezina Trophy nominee. He's been a big body goalie all playoff long for the Bruins. It's not always pretty, but it's effective for Tim Thomas. He comes out and challenges, plays a position as if he were a linebacker, and he couldn't get to that one by Daniel Sedin. But boy, oh boy, has he been super aggressive and so efficient for the Boston Bruins.
You play against a goaltender like that, you have to have patience with the puck. You have to buy some time. And just like on the game-winning goal in game 1, hold on to it a second longer and then shoot it or pass it to where he just came from.
Ryder able to step by Edler, but then was caught up by the good back-taking job done there by Raymond, and then Ryder tried another shot that was cut off.
Called his name a lot in the offensive zone for the Bruins.
He's on the bench telling guys to get him the puck. He's ready to go.
Well, you have that sense watching him the last 2 shifts in particular. This is turned along by Henrik Sedin. Gives it back to Daniel. To the back. Edler a shot. Oh, and that missed the glove of Thomas, but got the glass. Spun by Salo, and that ricocheted in front. Thomas is being harassed by Henrik Sedin, protesting to the referee. Pretty good work done on Henrik Sedin by Seidenberg. Shaken back off again by Ryder to center. Ryder now comes to the bench for a shift change. Meanwhile, this is carried back in by Henrik Sedin. Dropped off now to Hansen. Good crunch put on him, and the glass still shaking from the hit by Lucic. Seidenberg sped it across, and this is carried back up by Ferentz. Ferentz shoveled it to the corner. Lucic burrowed in after it. Lucic able to backhand it around, was hit by Bieksa. It swung out in front, but Torres flipped one along. Ricocheted off one of the Canucks to center. Brushed on by McQuaid. Careened on back, and Ferentz banged it geometrically to center. Then right back along for Torres, who was jostled on a hit by Lucic, who also got a little bit of Horton in the follow-through. Carried back on by Krejci. 2 3/4 minutes to go. Fed back to Krejci, moving in. Holds, shoots one that's just wide to the short side. Back along now, Boychuk jabbed one and ducking out of the way of the referee as Boychuk just continues to work. Skipped on back now to Krejci, turned on to Horton, led on back to the point. Lucic with the shot there that's blocked back down. Lucic trying to get in the way of the rushing Kessler. Fans thought there should have been an interference there. The trigger pulled on this one that careened on out to center, knifed away from Horton, and right back near him. Spun back in again by Raymond. Hooked along by Thomas. Played back to Seidenberg. Little over 2 minutes to go. Bergeron's pass is up the wing and shaken back in again by Recchi. A stray stick is there as they all go crunching in after it. Played along by Salo, but after it is Marchand. Jabbed it on back to the point, watched by Chara. Turnaround shot is spiked down in front. And a good play by Salo and led back out to center. Missing on that one was McQuaid. He moves in with Alex Burrows. Quaid is there, trying to work away at it and punch it behind his Higgins, but it's Chara watching. And Chara's pass careened on back. Bieksa shot that's stopped by Chara. Led right back. Another change by the Canucks as this one is carried back on, and a nice swagger move by Bergeron. Knifed down by Marchand, who goes in after it. Punched it away from Bieksa, but the Canucks are able to start right back out with it again. Here's Ehrhoff, leading one back up the wing. Held there. Big grab by Hansen, and a save by Thomas. Henrik Sedin laid it behind. Battled for there. Reaching in was LaPierre. Daniel Sedin taking over. Threw one around in front that's hooked several times off the stick of Ryder. Swept to the front by LaPierre and touched away by Thomas. Fed to the back. Bieksa shot, and that deflected along. Fed by Hansen. Cut and given right back to him again by Ferentz. Shoved onto the back Ehrhoff. Ehrhoff delays and slung one that was well wide. Hop to the corner where Hansen is jostled a bit by Ferentz. Trickled along to LaPierre. Tries for Daniel Sedin, no luck. Got Ferentz a weak pass, but it's scaled back off again by Peverley. Kept by Bieksa onside. And swung out to Ryder. 37 separating these teams from overtime. Along with it now comes Kelly. Protects. Written off though. Good effective play. That was done there by Mason Raven. So Bieksa, 25 to go. Lost that one to Krejci. Krejci up the boards, but his pass is blocked. Steered back out again by Higgins to center. Knifed away from Seidenberg, who one-hands it along. Carried on by Raymond. Can't follow up. Higgins can. Oh, and that one popped just wide. 8 seconds to go. Horton protects. Krejci starts back out. It's spiked right back on. Time for one more try by Higgins. Higgins threw one off of Thomas. Bounced around behind, and the horn sounds.
Boy, if Higgins looks at the net, Tim Thomas was down on all fours. There were a lot of room upstairs, but he tried to make the pass in front of the net, but a couple of real good opportunities. Giveaway by David Krejci. There's Christopher Higgins. Time coming down. Everybody's yelling shoot. Look how early Thomas was down there. And if Higgins fires that puck, he might give himself a chance.
32 shots for the Canucks, 30 for the Bruins, 2 apiece coming up. Liam McHugh, Keith Jones, Mike Millerberry are standing by to bring you the Discover Overtime Intermission Report. Burrows and Daniel Sedin have scored for Vancouver. Lucic and Recchi for the Bruins. It is 2-2. And so here we go into overtime, and why don't we revisit the theme of goaltending? It's so important.
Yeah, and we all know how aggressive Tim Thomas plays in goal, but on that tying goal by Daniel Sedin from our ice vision look, you see the traffic in front of net, Alexander Burrows with Dennis Seidenberg, and you see how far out Tim Thomas comes out of the top of his crease. And what ends up happening is Daniel Sedin will find his puck after a great pass by Alexander Burrows. And when you play aggressive, you get out on top of your crease. When you get out laterally, it makes it very difficult to be able to get back into your net and make those saves.
Inside the glass, Pierre.
A very confident group of Vancouver Canucks. In their last double overtime game, they beat the San Jose Sharks and knocked them out. The Boston Bruins are kind of a different bench right now. Very focused, very steely-eyed. not saying a whole lot. Much more conversation on the Vancouver bench than on the Boston bench.
What do we look for here? What's of interest if you're a coach going into this overtime?
I think never a bad play. We heard Mike and Jonesy talk about it. But the long change in this overtime. Your defensive zone is the farthest away from your bench. So whatever defenseman or winger on that side of the ice is farthest away from your bench, you cannot think you can change. You got to hold and then be able to make changes almost on a domino effect. You can't get caught in the middle change. Both these teams have defensemen to be able to make that long outlet pass.
Manage the puck in the neutral zone. Don't turn it over and lead to an odd man rush. This building's warm right now. Be sure on the puck.
The Bruins win, they get home ice. If the Canucks win a stranglehold, the Bruins would have to win 4 of the next 5, if it even went that far. And here's Burrows moving in, fakes the drive, and around behind he's chased the loose puck. He scores!
Great play by Burrows. And the Vancouver Canucks are up 2 games to none in the Stanley Cup final. Patience with the puck with an aggressive goaltender.
They are still going nuts, as you would expect, and it will go out onto Robson and all of the other main arteries of the city for the rest of the night. They are up 2 games to none. They have never won a Stanley Cup here since the Canucks were formed 40 years ago, but they feel pretty good about their chances now.
Winning faceoffs, great pass along those near boards, and then again, Thomas losing. He actually gets a piece of Burrows, but not enough. With the bang-bang play off the faceoff. And they're jumping here in Vancouver. Face-off just not a formality, Doc. You win a draw, you're able to make a quick play. Daniel Sedin with a quick little bump up, support by Alexander Burrows, and the puck ends up in the back of the net.
Down to the ice, and Pierre.
Well, right now, Edzo just talked about it. It's wild down here. And these people are celebrating like there's no tomorrow. They still haven't announced the 3 stars. We're waiting for somebody to come out.
Don't forget, Versus will continue coverage after the contest here tonight that has been won at 11 seconds of sudden death overtime by a score of 3-2. The Canucks have the lead in the best of 7, 2 games to none. Tomorrow on NBC, an epic tennis rivalry continues. Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal. The French Open men's final live at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific here on NBC. And a champion will also be crowned at the Rugby Sevens Collegiate Championship. Coverage begins tomorrow 2 Eastern on Versus and continues at 4 Eastern on NBC. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, it's your local news followed by Saturday Night Live with host Scarlett Johansson. For our viewers interested in more post-game coverage, there'll be plenty of it here tonight from Vancouver. You can tune in to Versus for continuing interviews, highlights, and analysis of tonight's game. Versus is also where you'll find games 3 and 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. Our coverage of Game 3 begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern from Boston on Monday. Alex Burrows from Daniel Sedin and Alexander Edler at 11 seconds of sudden death overtime. That has made the difference, a huge difference in this series. For Eddie Olczyk, Pierre Maguire, Mike Milbury, Keith Jones, Liam McHugh, and the police who will handle the speedy traffic on a lot of people out of here tonight. Good night from Vancouver.